Canada's provinces and territories are part of a larger whole, but are not subordinate to it. As Albertans, we love our Canada deeply. This is our home, and we are honoured to be contributing members. But the way Ottawa has treated the province, most especially Alberta, is unacceptable. Albertans are demanding action to restore a relationship that respects Alberta's sovereign areas of provincial jurisdiction as defined by the Constitution.
I'm fascinated by this. If there's support for this beyond Smith's main core of support, and if Albertans in general agree to this sort of thing.
Well, first of all, it's always good provincial politics, whether it doesn't matter what province you're from, to beat up and gripe and take swipes at the government in Ottawa. So we shouldn't really be surprised, and it's a very storied tradition in Canadian politics. But what we're seeing with the Premier of Alberta is that she's taking it to a new level. We also know from the polling that when we talk to individuals in the West, that the word they're most likely to use to describe how they feel about the government in Ottawa is anger. So people are angry in the West. They're angry at Ottawa. They feel that the Federation is not working. But this is kind of, what's odd about this whole thing, this new act that gives powers specifically to the cabinet on a lot of on federal issues and allows Alberta to chart its own course. It's kind of like, yeah, we're still living in the house, but you know what? Lunch is no longer at 12 o'clock. We might not want to have lunch at 12. We'd like to have lunch at 2 instead. Or, you know what? When the power bill comes in, maybe we don't want to pay that, or we want to pay less. Or, you know what? We think we should, we're not being recognized. So it's going to inherently lead to conflict between the federal government and the province of Alberta. The big question here's the big question: will there be copycats? Will the government of Saskatchewan adopt something? And you know what? If a second province adopts a similar strategy, then I think the federal government really has to worry to kind of contain what could be a new contagion in the Federation that could be a fundamental game changer. And how about this? Why don't I throw out, since the holiday season will be upon us and is upon us, why don't I throw out one piece of good news? That perhaps this legislation forces the provinces and the federal government to talk about a renewal of the Federation and how it works. Because I think that's basically what the government of Alberta is trying to say. They're trying to say, we're not happy. We need to change things. And this is, I would say, this could be a first opening political gambit to have a discussion on how the Federation needs to be renewed. So how's that? So we can have doom and gloom, or maybe a little bit of Federation sunshine.
I admire your optimism on this. I'm hopeful too. You made me hopeful, Nick. That's good.
Well, there we go.
Sticking with Alberta and Premier Smith, she's come out against school mask mandates. This is at a time when Alberta, like much of Canada, is dealing with a lot of seasonal illnesses like the flu, COVID, RSV, etc. I'm curious because you've done previous polling on how Canadians feel about masking, and I'm just wondering again if this is something Smith is doing that might appeal to people beyond her core supporters or not.
Well, I think this is very good for fundraising for the United Conservative Party in Alberta, because it strikes a chord. Any kind of what I'll say heavy-handed government intervention, as long as there's not a major outbreak, I think the government will be okay. The provincial government will be okay as long as there's not a significant outbreak, as long as there isn't a narrative emerging that people are dying as a result of lack of wearing masks, and they'll probably be okay. And the thing is, we look at the numbers. When we ask Canadians the top unprompted national issue of concern, we're still tracking coronavirus, because if somebody says coronavirus, we would say we report that. But it's now like not 1%. It's like a 0.1%. Normally, we wouldn't even report on anything like this, but we do report it because it's actually important that regardless of what we see in the news about, young kids and respiratory issues that they're having, news about whether there should be masking in schools. The fact of the matter is that for average Canadians, coronavirus, the pandemic, at least in this particular case, is not on the agenda. They're actually more likely to be worried about healthcare and whether the healthcare system is functioning and people can access a doctor and stuff like that.